With the latest chapter, we have gotten possibly the best chapter in Blue Lock yet, as we get the top 23 who will play in the U20 World Cup, and in those rankings we get to see the most devastating elimination as we see the tragic fate of Nagi Seishiro. Throughout the NEL, I've always believed in Nagi's reawakening, and every match I've believed he would break his curse and actually develop because I could not see him being written out of the U20 World Cup nor get eliminated like weaker characters like Ikaguri. And I've never been so wrong about something, but I'm so glad I was because Nagi's elimination was written perfectly. The only way this chapter could be better for me is if instead of the page ending with NA before revealing Nanase, that instead it showed just N, then pans to Nishioka. But he is a mean character, so I don't really care that he didn't make it, especially since I like Nanase, who happened to survive despite all odds against him. This chapter was so good that I feel obligated to make a video dedicated just for it, but before jumping into the video, I ask if you could just like and subscribe as I intend to post more frequently from now on. Now a big question is if Nagi is actually eliminated, and if so, then what's left for his future? Unlike characters like Narahaya and Kira who got eliminated during Blue Lock, Nagi isn't locked out from representing Japan in the future. He has an offer, so his career as a pro hasn't ended, and so he may just go solo for a bit before coming back to the main cast later in the story. Personally, it does make sense for Nagi to get eliminated at this moment. It's not like his elimination hasn't been heavily foreshadowed throughout both the main story and spin-off, but I can see a few scenarios for how he re-enters the U20 World Cup, although unlikely. The first option is the expanded roster theory. I've mentioned before that there's a slight chance that the roster size may increase to 26, seeing as the latest World Cup does allow more players, and therefore Nagi, Tokumitsu and one more surprising person could join, including Sai, who wasn't included in the top 23 nor competed for a spot. In their world, we may see Burasara request to increase the limit to ensure that popular players like Nagi and Sai are included in the team. Although I think it's more likely his plans relate to getting broadcasting rights and hosting the tournament in the Blue Lock facility than touching the rules and format of the tournament. Option number 2 is the popularity theory. In an extra page describing the NEL project, it's highlighted that people can vote to change someone's fate. With Nagi having a huge online presence and popularity, even when he was slumping, then he could hypothetically survive with enough votes. However, I feel like this is a cop-out and would ruin Nagi's elimination, and it was more so a reason Izzy could sub into the game in the first place. Honestly, I think Ikaguri would more likely survive through this route, given a lot of people would give up on Nagi, and since Ikaguri was the underdog, cried on screen, actively promoted himself out of game, and most importantly saved Bastard Munich multiple times, then is sure to have gained some fans. Option number 3 is the injury theory. Given that he is ranked number 24, that means if a singular person in the top 23 drops out, then he could hypothetically take their spot. For the U20 World Cup roster, there is a preliminary squad that will include every single Blue Locker, and so he could hypothetically replace a player in the top 23 that drops out. There's only 2 options to who exits I can see, and given that Yukamiya's vision comes from fatigue, I don't think he'll be subbed out, and the more likely candidate to get injured and replaced is Chigiri. He's said it before that his leg may break, and so potentially in one game he does a heroic last play at the cost of his leg, but doing so takes him out for the rest of the tournament, and so Nagi can take his spot. I don't think it will be a drastic injury for Chigiri, but enough to take him out for a month or 2 for Nagi to sub in. But I don't think it's any of these reasons, because here's the issue. Nagi has not improved at all and has constantly had a down spiral. One of my key points to why I originally thought he would awaken and win the game is because if Nagi is still playing like trash, then there is no incentive for Ego to ever sub him into a game. We have so many capable strikers like Isagi, Rin, Baro, Shido, etc. who aren't playing horribly and are improving every single day. So even if he makes the top 23 and the bench, then it doesn't even matter because he'll still remain a bench warmer. But I do want to say that the NEL does start 100 days before the U20 World Cup, and since each game is about 10 days apart, then he'll still have around 50 days of training, and in that time Nagi may bounce back, but since the training isn't a high pressure environment, he won't get a significant boost like everyone else who actually developed in the NEL. And so that means it's very likely that he does in fact get eliminated at this point. and it's like Baru said after defeating him in the Ubers vs Manshine game. He should despair, die, and come back later. Sure, he may not play in the U20 World Cup, but his dream with Rayo was always to win the actual World Cup, and being separated from the rest of them will give him incentive to actually focus on improving himself, as there's nothing left he can lose. Personally, I think Manshine have given up completely in Nagi, and the 24 million offer was from a Japanese club who still has hope in him. And I'm predicting it's the same club that gave Kunigami an offer earlier, and my batshit crazy theory at the moment is that Kira will be in Nagi's team, potentially with Nishioka too, where those three will be the stars of the team, and the journey will involve recovering and polishing their egos. Don't forget, Kira isn't banned from playing in Japanese clubs or even overseas. He's only banned from playing in the Japanese squads for the actual World Cups, and given that he was going to play for the U18 team, then getting an offer is very likely, especially since there's an extremely high chance he won nationals too. With every striker participating in Blue Lock, then if he was eliminated and sent back home, assuming he didn't go to the wildcard, there was likely no challenge left in Japan, and he could win and still get an offer from a top tier Japanese club, the same one as Nagi. Both Kira and Nagi changed due to Isagi's actions, while being seen as the next big thing from Japan, and so I think when the Blue Lockers go to their clubs and play in the U20 World Cup, we have Nagi join Kira's team and they undergo their own training arc. But even if Kira doesn't return to the story, Nagi will for sure and return stronger than ever, as he overcomes a lot of his weaknesses by himself and separated from Rayo. Don't forget, the episode Nagi's story is about him discovering his ego, something we haven't seen him do yet, and so his journey can't end here. Like, even though his character theme relates around death and that was his tarot card, it also represents change. He may have died now, but that does not mean his story has concluded. He will have to discover how to start his own fire and passion. He will need to learn to be creative and think for himself, and in general he has to take all the advice from everyone he's interacted with, including people like Chris, Aki, Batra, Hirogi, Isagi, etc. There's a lot to fix for himself, and so this time at rock bottom is perfect to begin his actual journey of redemption. With that being said, I can move on to the next thing I want to talk about, and that is the FC Barcha vs Manshine game. In the final play we have Barca show all 11 plays, where it appears that only Hayate and Dare sub in. Personally, I dislike this simply because I thought Himizu would be part of the squad since he had a salary and played with Nagi twice before. So if he replaced Boss as the right back and made a quote about reading Nagi being scared, I would have been so much happier, but I guess not. I was also hoping that Sokka and Haiji, given I expected them to have a bigger role for Ryo's development in the match, but I guess not either. But given the latest episode Nagi chapter, it seems like Sokka was never going to be important, seeing as he has no personality or depth at all. As for Manshine, we have the core 4 Nagi, Ryo, Chikiri and Aki. We also see Neo as the centre back once again, and the other blue locker we see is Hirogi as Batra dribbles past them. Hirogi was always critical in the spin-off about Nagi and foresaw his death, and so I think it's fitting that he shares the same match as him where they both get eliminated together. We also see the goalkeeper and the other 2 centre backs, Young and Busby, playing too, but that means there's 2 missing people in the squad playing as the left and right wing backs. Given Wanama also got an increase with Neo and Hiroki in the previous 2 rounds, I'm expecting him to play on the left wing while Nishioka playing on the right, where he continued to be an off-screen bandit. As we enter the match, we have Nagi's words, "If I can't dream of being the world's best, then it's all over for the 2 of us." And so this match is the final test for Nagi's true ego, because there's actual stakes from now. The match emphasizes the importance of making the top 23 and how if they screw up a 3rd game in a row, they'll be on the borderline of elimination. And as we all know, he has another poor performance. And this is where I want to highlight why Kira and Nanase both got higher offers than him. Nagi had one miracle goal and fell off hard. He refused to change who he was and develop, which is the whole point Yukimiya made in the final game. Those like Tokomitsu and Nagi won't survive simply because they won't change. On the other hand, Nanase, although worse than Nagi on a technical standpoint, showed that he's actively improving and even could have gone to assist if it was not for Frien's desire to crush Isagi. Then Kiora, despite playing one game, showed he can clutch and get an assist off his skills and ability alone. Everyone in the top 23 have proved themselves to be improving and worthy investments, while Nagi just stagnated and refused to improve, even with Chris and Agi trying to nurture him. Like, people underestimate how poorly Nagi actually played because we only saw him at his peak in the NEL, but he had 3 horrific games in a row as the main striker where he only scored once in the NEL, so of course it makes investors back out because in their eyes he is a one-hit wonder. With that being said, I want to jump back into the game where we have Manshine's initial attack with both Rayo and Nagi expanding their options and reduce their codependency by adding Chigiri to the equation, with Rayo ending up assisting Chigiri. But during this attack we see Nagi say that he won't forget to shoot when the moment is right, which we all know he will go on to do. We then have FC Barcha's attack where we have Barcha dribble past and score, showcasing his fire and excitement on the field. Doing so, we have Lavino hype up and the Master Strikers enter the field, which is why the match ends so quick as we will get 2 goals within 3 minutes. Even though Agi is getting tired of the duo shenanigans, he still tries to help Nagi, and side note, but Rayo really annoyed me in the NEL with the way he talked to Agi, constantly dismissive when he was just trying to help. Don't get me wrong, Nagi is mostly to blame for his failing performance, but the way Rayo talks to Agi's help and basically shuts him out irked me so much that I have to blame Rayo slightly. Anyway, we see Nagi contemplate that even an assist is sufficient in order to survive, and so Nagi goes back to comfort where he tries passing to Rayo, but the pass is too trash and familiar, so Otoya comes in to intercept the ball. Both he and Barcha, who are the heart of the team, are at their peak performance and showing signs of their fire that Nagi desires. Using his off-the-ball movement, Otoya shut the doubters up so quickly where he gets past Chris scoring a jumping direct volley to score. Both the light and the shadow of the team are showing their true egos and top performances, something that neither Rayo nor Nagi are showcasing in this match so far. Nagi knows this feeling and heat, which is why he yearns that feeling again, because he can't dream of being the world's best without it, and so he queries how to reach this feeling again. Manshine is still struggling, and with Chris's help he tells Rayo to score himself because he believes in him. From early gates, he was the egoist with a new open ego in the NEL, and Chris knows this. It's not that Chris abandoned Nagi, but rather he doesn't want Rayo to fall off too. He's too good to get eliminated and throw away his future. With the match tied 2-2, we have them compete to decide who wins this battle of losers, and before we resume the match, we have Nagi tell Rayo that he can find his own fire and not to pass to him. Rayo may be safe, but to Nagi, he'll bank everything into this last play and give it his all. At least that's what he tells himself, and so he comes to realize that Agi was right and they can't be codependent any longer. Nagi and Rayo have the strongest bond in Blue Lock, with Rayo introducing him to soccer and giving Nagi purpose in life. His whole life until their meeting was being a bore and lifeless, which is where his manifestation of death originates from. By being in his life, Nagi finally feels wanted, and we see he's scared of losing him. With this fear, he believes he can reignite the fire he long lost and reach a level like Barcha, Otoya and Rayo. And we see Agi so gleeful because Nagi is finally starting to actually try to develop. He may get eliminated, he may not fulfill his shared dream and win the World Cup with Rayo, and he may lose his best friend and go back to his meaningless life. The stakes haven't been higher for Nagi, and we see him enter flow where he believes he can be the best in the world, and we see him try his multi-stage trapping, but FC Barcha are prepared and Otoya challenges him. Nagi being limited in creativity means that he stumbles now, and we now have the death of Nagi Seishiro, who fears his life. Overwhelmed, he passes to Rayo in the hopes he can salvage this predicament. It's a huge callback to the first chapter where Ego questions what he will do in the World Cup, and we see it now. He is not an egoist that can currently challenge the world, and his past effectively killed his career, or at least will be the moment he hits rock bottom for his true despair. But it's not just the past being poetic making this moment so amazing, it's also who he just lost to. Barcha was the one in the second selection that Nagi critiqued about relying on Izzy and not fighting for himself, and so Barcha has already shown development and went through his own slump to reach the point where he is now. He can fight by himself, unlike Nagi. Then we also have Otoya, where we recently seen the spin-off manga where his relationship with Karasu is meant to show the difference between a codependent relationship versus one with mutual benefits. Otoya succeeding without Karasu while also being compatible is used to show what Nagi could have been if he didn't force Ryo to help him. So both FC Barcha members who are shining and fired up are the people Nagi could have been if he developed correctly. But then we have the whole team's philosophy where FC Barcha are a team focused on creativity and freedom, making them share the philosophy Nagi needed most throughout the NEL. Now I do want to mention that Chris isn't a bad coach and Manshine was still a good team for him to join. There's just a lot more depth into what went wrong for Nagi rather than his environment. But I just find Nagi's loss to FC Barcha so amazing because everything he needed in this match was there for him to reawaken, but he just couldn't do it. He couldn't find the fire himself and couldn't envision himself being the world's best striker. But Nagi's downfall isn't the only thing we see. My favourite part besides his elimination is how the salaries are presented as Barcha dribbles past the whole team. Even though I hate that Izzy had to share rank 1 with Reen, they were always going to be extremely close, so them tying doesn't bother me too much. Shida over Baru does make sense given that PXG is a team willing to splurge money and he is important for Charles' growth, especially since Reen's likely not staying either. But we knew those before. The new ones are so fun because the second Nagi passes we have the countdown as every character gets their rankings in order until we reach the 23rd spot. And it just ends with NA to give some false hope that Nagi survives the borderline just for Nanase to be the one to get it. Being worth 1/10 of Izzy and Reen's value, we see him get rank 24 and understand that he's failed the NEL and it's over for him. But besides Nagi's rank, I do want to talk about some other characters' salaries, but nothing big until my next video. We see Otoya proved all the haters wrong this game and showed he is worthy of the top 10 as he beats Chris. We also have Gagamaru who surprisingly got a huge boost given he didn't really do much besides the one save, but given he was the best goalkeeper in the NEL, it's definitely deserved. I don't think Nanase is 100% safe, as I read a comment on Reddit saying that Kira at 22 is actually the borderline and Saya may actually take the 23rd spot, but if I was Nanase I would be so pissed if I got eliminated from that, and I don't think that will actually happen. As for the characters who played but didn't see their final values yet, I doubt we'll get much of a noticeable jump seeing as Nagi was 24th with 24 million, so I'm expecting Hayate and Daro who won to get around 20 and 21 million, and then Neo, Hiraki and Wanama to get around 18, 17 and 16 respectively, as they were usually around 1 million from each other. The only people I want to rant about is Fukaku. I know he is our second goalkeeper, but it sucks seeing a fraud with no on-screen feed survive. Like at least make him be the one to stop Hiyori's shot, give him merchandise or a volume cover, or do anything with his character. But judging by his egoist Bible page, he at least seems nice and has a semi-sad backstory, and so I see him developing and awakening in a future game where Gagamaru may get injured. I also want to rant about Tokumitsu. Like, I'm upset he didn't make it since I believed in the jersey number theory and who survives, but seeing as how Nagi's gone, then it wasn't going to hold up anyway. But given how poorly he played in this match, I'm not shocked he got eliminated, but it's so funny that he started with 23 million. He literally only needed one good feat, or do the bare minimum to reach 25 million to survive, and he couldn't even do that. With both Nagi and Toki's elimination, I do want to mention I hope both characters get a proper send-off, like have Ayu and Nanase actually say goodbye to Toki, and Baru and Izzy saying farewell to Nagi. I also want to say that there's still around 50 days until the U20 World Cup, so they don't necessarily have to leave yet and can help the Blue Lockers train still. And so even if we see them cry for not making their roster, I don't think they'll leave instantly. Overall, I do think Nagi is eliminated, but we will see his journey in the future. Similarly, I don't think it's completely over for Tokumitsu or even Igaguri, but they'll be introduced in the story later on. That being said, thanks for watching, Buddha be praised, and have a good day.